Welcome to the Find Your Strong podcast with Christine and Ella. Another week, another amazing guest. This week we have got part two with Damali Fraiser. Now, Damali is, I was going to say this word, powerhouse. I say powerhouse. That's my Irish accent, but how do you say it in English? Powerhouse.
Yes, powerhouse. I like the way it sounds either way.
Coach Damali is a compassionate. I'm going to read her bio because it really struck me actually, and the way it was written. And I just thought we should read it out before we get started. So, Damali is a compassionate kettlebell expert, author, speaker, fitness and nutrition coach, as well as founder of Lift Off Strength and Wellness. She's known, now this I love, she's known for her unapologetic opposition to diet culture in the kettlebell community and is a passionate educator. I have done one of her courses and it was amazing. Through her inclusive kettlebell coaching, you learn to teach kettlebells from an intersectional lens, size inclusive, trauma informed, judgment free, and for everybody. And with emphasis on the body, as humanity has always had body diversity. I love that bio, Damali.
Well, thank you. It's hard to come together with your words when you're
Yeah.
passionate about many things,
Yeah.
and be able to let people know where you stand. But I appreciate the love, and I'm glad to be here. I'm grateful to see you folks from across the waters.
Yes, yeah, we're grateful to you. Thank you so much. I
Yeah.
mean, it does sound like people who work with you are in a really, really safe space.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I believe that we create brave spaces for folks to explore being curious. They can sometimes feel a little bit off their ground, a little bit out of their foundation, but the hope is that they're able to come into themselves a little bit more each time that we connect. So I love my community. I love the people I've been able to teach, like Christine coming in, even if it's from virtual, we kind of like connect every time we meet. So thank you.
Yeah.
What I was really interested in is that I've got a busy brain, but I love movement. I love kettlebells, but I find it hard to really pick that one niche because I also do kind of Pilates and I do body weight strength and I do other stuff. And what brought you to that niche? What made you go, this is it? I'm going to base my business around the kettlebell. Was it just, you just find a love of it, Damali, or what was?
Yeah, you know what? Like it's funny you chose powerhouse as your
Yeah.
word, but I'm a power enthusiast, I would say. When it comes to my choice of modalities, it's not a coincidence that I started in like high school playing rugby.
Mm.
And then I had kids, which is a powerful thing.
Yes.
And then I went to Muay Thai. So I was doing Thai kickboxing and competing as an amateur Muay Thai fighter for 3 years. And that's where I actually encountered kettlebells as a functional training tool for fighters, for combat athletes and striking. So I found a lot of likeness in the ballistic movements of kettlebells to what I enjoyed in striking, but with lower impact. So I was able to combine that functional movement with my sport or modality of choice at the time and find a lot of growth in my own athleticism, but also for me personally. And when I had my first like major sports injury, which was 2016, I tore my ACL, medial and lateral meniscus. After that surgery, recovering from the ACL reconstruction, kettlebells was with me all the way through. So
Mm.
I found a little bit like I still think Muay Thai saved my life. I feel like Muay Thai is for everybody as well. I will say that too. But I found that I was able to take kettlebells with me through different seasons of my body changing, of encountering physical trauma, dealing with internal trauma and realizing those things through my like recovery from sports injury. So kettlebells became my friend. Kettlebells became
Wow.
a go-to, a refuge. And so I've done powerlifting, Olympic lifting. So again, power sports are kind of my
Power sports.
thing. But folks do know me as a kettlebell instructor, and I'm looking to make kettlebells more accessible to communities. But it doesn't mean that I just love movement. I think movement is the destination. So I will say kettlebells are for every body, like every kind of body, but they might not be for everyone.
Yeah.
Some people might not be feeling it like I was feeling it, and that's okay. That is what we have in terms of diversity and choice. So I will encourage folks to explore, and I believe kettlebells gives like an opportunity to access different kinds of exploration of movement. But I'm never going to sit here and say, if you don't love kettlebells, you're that's not it. If that's the show they're looking for, this is the wrong channel.
Yeah. And the circling back, sorry, Ella, I'm taking over for 1 minute.
No, go for it.
Circling back to Muay Thai. So interestingly, well, to me it's interesting. My mum passed away sadly a few weeks ago. I felt like I don't want to talk. I want to box and hit something. And I find a local boxing gym, which is called Team Queen, and is actually a really inclusive space. It's LGBTQ plus community, a very inclusive gym. And it was just, I got a one-to-one with a trainer, and she started like telling me to kind of dance and be on my tiptoes. And it was all I was like, what are we doing? What is this? And she said, oh, this is Muay Thai. And I went, what? And then immediately you came into my head, because I was like, this is Muay Thai, and the force of the kicks. I just love it, but it is complicated, Damali. It is so like just all the movements and how I just thought you'd go in and box something, but
right. I mean, sometimes you do need to do that, and my condolences. I really feel for that experience, and it resonates with me. There's so much to be said for how we experience grief and how we process it in our body. And striking, hitting something, and being able to just let loose. I don't necessarily always say take up space, but taking up space in these different ways, whether it is, and I partner this with kettlebells, because that same idea of it looks like it's so easy, but it's actually quite complex. Muay Thai is like that too, right? You're like, oh, just punch the thing, or just kick the thing. And when you start to watch technique, you start to realize the intricacies and the nuances of the movement, as well as if you start to watch like a boxer versus a kickboxer versus a Muay Thai athlete, like you'll see the differences in the sport and notice the nuances. But it can really help build you up. It kind of feels like it's breaking you down, but you kind of break down to build yourself back up in those moments.
I mean, the instructor is hilarious, because I keep going, oh, sorry, because she's like, turn around this way, use your hips, push it. And I'm like, oh, sorry. And she went, right, every time you say sorry, you have to give me 10 kicks on each leg. So I have to, and I'm like, oh, the amount of kicks I did last week was nothing. Just kicking the whole time. But I love that, because she's like, we don't apologize for ourselves in this space. We don't.
No, we don't. And we don't apologize for the sounds we make. Right? You learn your TI, you get your voice. Same thing with kettlebells. So as I'm teaching and I'm asking persons to breathe, like could be the first time they actually listen to themselves breathe.
Wow.
Really listen to yourself breathe. Allow yourself to breathe as loud as you need to, right? In those moments. So it's really an embodied experience overall.
100%.
Wow. That sounds like it could be incredibly powerful to do that, to let that happen. If you are someone who's sort of holding back, to let rip and to make those noises and to kind of get really into it. That sounds amazing.
I believe it is. I love it. I absolutely love Muay Thai. I absolutely love kettlebells for that reason. It's a process. It takes time. So that's where, your trauma-informed coaching comes into play. It's not just like an immediate, like, oh, here's your coping mechanism. It's like, you're going to go through a process and going to give yourself space, and that might be scary. And I'm here to support you along the way to where you are, to where you want to be.
Hmm. That's really interesting. You just mentioned the trauma-informed approach. Can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit more about how that is reflected in your coaching when you coach kettlebell classes? Do you do group sessions? Do you do one-to-ones or both? Or how does that sort of filter into your coaching practice?
Mhm. Well, as I said, I started kettlebells through Muay Thai. I was
Mm.
teaching fighters, and it's
Mm.
funny, as you say, like a lot of us came into that space realizing that we came with a lot of things that we were trying to process, and that is something you'll encounter. So it's very common that you'll notice, like, oh, a lot of these students have a lot of trauma, have a lot of physical trauma, have personal trauma, and trauma is something that you experience based on how you encountered an experience. So not every experience will hit the same person the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So my practice is really about noticing and naming how trauma affects the body, the nervous system, and how we can use movement to help us process, cope, manage with our trauma. So it's not just about cueing, although cueing, both internal and external cueing, is important. It's understanding like the appropriate dose for that, giving people awareness of the spectrum, the learning spectrum of their experience as well. So giving them different types of learning tools and being able to have a fully human experience when teaching. And that means also for myself, bring
Mm.
humanity into it. So I'm not a robot. I'm also not perfect. I'm not the epitome or pinnacle of fitness. I'm going to experience fitness very differently from how you experience it, and that is allowed in the space.
Wow. That sounds like yeah, as I said before, like a really safe space for people to. And do you feel like people who have experienced trauma sort of gravitate to your sessions? Do you feel like there is something about the way that you present your service, your coaching, that kind of people gravitate towards you that have experienced trauma?
I think that we're still in the world of diet culture.
Uh-huh.
So I want to
Yeah.
be fully like transparent, right? We're still in the world
Yeah.
of diet
Please.
culture. So for the most part, people are often still looking for fitness or see fitness as a means of weight loss
Weight loss.
or changing their body aesthetically.
Mm-hmm.
So are they necessarily seeing me and being like, oh, I have trauma, I want to train with Coach Damali?
Mm-hmm.
Probably that's a minority right now. Would I like
Mm-hmm.
to see more people understand how kettlebell training can help them from a trauma-informed lens? Yes, that's why I want to be out here. But I think people are still seeking, like, I want to do something. I want to feel better in my body. I want to
Yeah.
move better or perform better, or I want to change how my body looks. And then we start working together, and then they start to get a little more curious about their body and start to see, and then some things might be bubbling up in how they feel, and that can transform their journey into fitness from being purely an aesthetic goal to a fully transformational goal in their movement journey.
I think I find trauma-informed coaching is so important for coaches like us. I think it's so important that we do those certifications and those qualifications, because no matter who you're training, you are holding space for people, and issues are going to come up in the sessions because you're training with the body, and emotions are expressed through the body and are moved through the body, and it's inevitable that you're going to be holding that space for people, isn't it? And it's
Right.
often quite a vulnerable space if people
Very.
are coming to movement after a long time away from movement, or who haven't moved before and aren't feeling comfortable in their bodies. It
Right.
is, it really, it's like a responsibility. It's like a duty of care almost, isn't it?
Right. Like 10 years ago, when I started teaching kettlebells, I was only doing one-on-ones or group fitness.
Hmm.
And again, it was just do as much as possible, volume as much
Yeah.
as possible. Whereas now, after going through so many certifications and courses and programs, I said, there's a lot of detailed information about exercise, but There's not as much about kettlebells. So personal training certifications are not including kettlebells, the nuance of using a kettlebell. And also not taking a trauma-informed and size-inclusive approach. So that's where I created Coach's Corner. And really, my focus is on supporting coaches and practitioners, clinicians who want to use kettlebells in their practice, even if you're a physical therapist. At physical therapy school, they're not teaching kettlebells. They are teaching kettlebells. So I want them to be able to take kettlebells into their practice safely. So understand the nuances of training with a kettlebell, but also be able to make sure that they are creating brave, safe spaces for all of their clients through a trauma-informed lens. So that's really like my focus. I do always have one-on-one clients. I take like a couple per year because I like to be in community with people. And I do community partnerships with gyms where I'll come in, I'll do workshops and I'll do classes. But my focus is really on trying to transform the coaching community to safely teach kettlebells from a trauma-informed lens.
Yeah, it is needed, Damali. It really is. Ella, have you got a question? Because I've got about 100.
Yeah, I've got 100 too, but I because as I said to you, I'm not an expert in kettlebells whatsoever. I've done a course with Christine, an introduction course with kettlebells, and that made me realize how technical it is and how easily you can get it wrong. And appreciating the fact that you sort of your focus is on coaching the coaches to use them. How would you get someone interested in actually giving it a go, given that there is quite a lot of technique and quite a lot to learn? You can't just go out, buy a kettlebell and swing it around, because you can do yourself a lot of damage. So how would you get someone interested in it to start off with?
Well, one thing I'll say for sure, you buy a kettlebell, sure, buy a kettlebell. And I always just say, like, how to get started, pick it up, put it down.
Oh, okay. Simple as that.
Put it down, right? I want you like to get noticed, like how it feels on like the low, how it feels and how it does feel differently, because it is a unique shape. Like the benefits of kettlebell really have to do with the fact that this ball of metal has a handle, gives you access to a whole bunch of fluid movements, and it will feel different when you're holding it. So you want to start something, you got to pick it up. Get a coach. Know that financially might not be as accessible to you, but there might be a drop-in, there might be a class, right? There might be a free course or a little freebie that a coaches like offer. Go ahead and get access, because you do want a kettlebell instructor that's inclusive and that understands the nuance of a kettlebell. Not someone who's going to say, oh, you know, just it's a dumbbell, just pick it up like a dumbbell.
No,
that's the way to
same.
go. Yes, you want someone who's going to be able to articulate to you how unique the kettlebell is in order for you to use it as safely as possible. But I want to do that from a lens where you're not constantly like hyper vigilant. I don't want to create a sense of fear, like it's going to hurt me, and if I don't do it right, pick it up, put it down. It's okay. You will be okay. And as you want to progress, you know, get a coach or start a class, join a class that is specifically a kettlebell class, not just a strength class where they said, I'm swapping in a kettlebell, but a kettlebell class, and build from there.
Right.
Yeah, and you can, things like goblet carries are so underrated, like where you're literally carrying them. Like, so I do that with clients to warm up. We do walks with kettlebells, and we kind of sometimes do a heavier weight in one hand and lighter in the other if they do have any kind of imbalance in their shoulders or their hips. And it's just really interesting and a very, do you know what I mean? So you can start, as Damali's saying, nice and simple. You don't have to go straight for your snatches.
Yeah, please don't go straight.
Please don't.
Please don't.
What is a snatch? Now, I've heard this. I've listened to some of your podcast interviews, Damali, and I've heard Christine talk about a snatch. What is a snatch? Sorry, I have to just know now.
So a kettlebell snatch is different from a barbell snatch. So a barbell snatch
Don't know what that is
an
either.
Olympic weightlifting exercise. But with kettlebell, you can do a single hand kettlebell snatch. It's really just a power, ballistic, so speed and power movement to bring a weight from the ground to overhead. So you want to
So
get
like that.
kettlebell straight
Straight up.
overhead, no
Right.
pausing in between, from down to up, as fast as possible. And as quickly
Okay.
as possible. So we're leveraging, yes, it is actually quite complex because we're leveraging a lot of biomechanics in order to efficiently get the kettlebell to travel overhead.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Right. Thank you so much. I have been puzzled by that term, and now I know, and I appreciate that.
Well,
Thank
do
you.
you know, when I'm trying to sell kettlebells to clients, because they're like, why should I get a kettlebell instead of a dumbbell? I always use your terminology, Damali, which is about this big unstable ball of metal which creates stability in your body. The amount of times I've used that, because it makes sense to me, because it's got that off-center mass or offset center of mass. So it's
Yes.
is unstable. So by means of that, it is creating that stability, doing the bottoms up press, like so good for the wrist and
Right.
shoulder stability. And so they're very versatile bits of kit. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's Ella, we'll talk afterwards.
We will. Yes.
But
Yeah, it
I,
was so much fun just because they are something that are generally unstable that help you to bring stability into your body. I think we did talk the last time, and I always say that body is a community. Like you are pulling the community in as you learn tension techniques, you're uniting your community. And although it's like this ball of metal creates instability, it allows you to experience stability in such a different way. So that's why I love them.
yeah, they're so good. And we were going to talk to you a little. We've got, let's see how long we've got. Oh, goodness, I can talk, can't I, Ella?
Okay, well, we could talk.
I've sort of sent you some questions which we've not got to at all, but I wanted to talk to you about not feeling at home in our bodies as we navigate changes through perimenopause and beyond. I know that you were very open on Instagram and sharing your story about your own hysterectomy just over, was it a year ago, Damali? And
Yeah, just a year ago.
I'm just really interested to know how since then have you navigated, first of all, your recovery, but also changes to hormones, your body, how you feel in your body, how that's been for you, if you would be comfortable sharing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the more that we share our stories, the more we're able to connect in community, and then the more fewer people are going to feel alone. I was still surprised. Like I think even as I said it, the amount of people who even today, they'll send me a DM and like, oh, I'm gonna have the surgery next week, or oh, I found out I need it, or oh, I did mine 10 years ago. And I'm like, I didn't know that. And we've known each other for however long. So just having those open conversations, body change is human. We start like with body change is human. Bodies have always been diverse. No, everybody is as unique. There's like these beauty standards that push us into there's only one beauty or one way to look. They don't work. They don't work for any of us. It does not benefit any of us. So I would say, just going through childhood and thinking about puberty, perimenopause is like the opposite end of that, where it's suddenly like this shock, like of why I'm upset? Like what is the hormones, like hormonal changes, different smells, so whether it's sweating, whether it's, changes in your body. So it's like a whole other experience like that. I had fibroids for many, many years. I had very painful periods, a lot of bleeding from that, and came to realize that perimenopause really kicked that up like way over a notch. So it was really frustrating, especially as a fitness coach, to see and feel like certain limitations in my capabilities. And how do I navigate that? I'm so grateful for kettlebells again, and for having found a trauma-informed lens for my teaching, because that really helped me to see my body's changes differently and to be able to navigate and process how I'm still an exceptional coach, whether I'm gaining weight, whether I have limitations because I have like loss of blood and I'm exhausted with an anemic, these are the things that I was going through. So definitely coming to the hysterectomy, I had 5 days notice.
Wow.
So in Canada, we can be on wait lists for quite a while because we do have free healthcare, but it means that everybody has it. So I was told it was going to be 9 to 10 months for the surgery, but then a cancellation came. And given that I didn't have a date for the potential surgery, it was a question of like, do I just do this now, or do I wait until on the list until I know what's going to happen? And so I just accepted it all and said, I've been living through this, trying to navigate like a different quality of life, or what I felt was lower quality of life, with period panties and pads and things coming out of the zoo. So I decided to go ahead and do the surgery. It was a total hysterectomy, so they removed the uterus, cervix, and fallopian tubes.
Wow.
Still have my ovaries, so that means I still have a cycle. That means I still have hormonal changes, perimenopause and menopause to come. I've been told menopause will probably come earlier, but I still have it. So then, one of those things that you have to now be aware of is like, I don't have a menstruation, so I don't actually get to manage monitoring through menstruation, my hormones. So that's something that I've had to come kind of into grips with, like, oh, so how do I know what's happening to me right now? But I did feel my physical like recovery was pretty good for me. I was seeing a pelvic floor physical therapist for a year before, managing the symptoms I had previously. And I had a myomectomy the year before, which is a surgery to remove fibroids. So they had gone and surgically removed fibroids, but it wasn't effective for all of my conditions. So I think that kind of prepped me as well to be ready for the pelvic floor work that I would need to do. But that stability, that breath work that we do in kettlebell training, and really learning to breathe with your pelvic floor and your diaphragm working together, is essential to your recovery when it comes to a surgery like a hysterectomy. So I will definitely encourage all the carries, getting to be able to manage pressure internally. Those were all practices that I went like straight into following my surgery in order to support my recovery. They're going to say, just like after childbirth, they're going to say, oh, you can't lift anything over 10 pounds. And it's like, but my backpack is 10 pounds.
Yeah.
But what do you mean? Like, how does that work? So being able to understand what your capacity is for you, to be able to have a system that allows you to walk through. So I really do lean on my progressive kettlebell work. So starting with carry, starting with breath work, starting with tension, localizing that, then moving into hinging so that I can actually manage my intra-abdominal pressure, hinging, like all those things supported me along the journey to coming to here. Am I like feeling like, oh, I'm recovered? Yes. Like physically, I would say like I'm recovered, but I think that there was also like an emotional journey alongside that. I'd say I didn't appreciate that there would be like a grieving process alongside of it. My interpretation of like, this thing is evil, so just get it out, was kind of where I was sitting. But then after it was like, oh, like, this is an organ, like it's been my body my whole life, when it's being removed, and how do I feel now, and how do people interpret like who I am without a uterus, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a lot to navigate emotionally.
The recovery from surgery, I'm sure, is just, I mean, I've never really had a surgery like that. But yeah, it's very, to me, it's something that we need to talk about more. And I really appreciate you taking the time to chat about it. And, you know, especially about the work with the pelvic floor and how you can use strength training can actually really help with that, with especially managing that intra-abdominal pressure. I have so many clients who struggle with pelvic floor and just think it's that, well, that's just the way it is. You know, I'm
Right,
over 40, I'm over 50. That's just the way it is. And it doesn't have to be. And it's really refreshing to hear how actually after your surgery, you're like, right, let's start, let's work on this. Let's kind of, rather than just accepting that's how it is, you know, that we have a little bit more, what's the agency than we
Agency,
think.
yes.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and also I think the what you just said is quite interesting, because I think that used to be the sort of popular opinion, like, okay, when we're hitting perimenopause, menopause, everything's downhill, nothing we can do about it. It's probably part of a patriarchal kind of way of looking at things, because there's not been any research done as to, well, how can we actually make it work for us? What can we actually do to, you know, stay fit and recover from these things? What can we do to navigate all of these symptoms that we're experiencing? It's
right,
you know, it's slowly, I think, getting into people's minds that actually there is stuff we can do, and there's stuff we can do to prepare, whether it is a hysterectomy, whether it is just the sort of normal body changes that we go through as we age. But I think it's still quite sort of in its infancy, isn't it? Because, you know, no one's really bothered looking into it until quite recently.
right. I think that there's a lot of conversation about perimenopause and menopause that's coming up. And I think it's really important. People are starting to understand, or really understand, that losing muscle mass as you age is a reality. And it is a concerning reality, and your bones need load. Your bones,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you want to maintain your bone density, improve your bone density as you age. Like, these are all areas that have not had the focus. It's all been on the diet industry and fat loss, when your accessibility to balance, your mobility, your strength, your, you know, carrying groceries throughout your whole life. This is about you managing your muscle mass and increasing your bone density. And we want to be able to have that choice to really invest in our bodies and look at longevity from a different lens, from just being fit.
And you know, on that note, we were talking about the pressure on women over 40 to strength train. I know that sounds counter, and what's the word I'm looking for? I am a great advocate for strength training over 40, especially massively. So, and the benefits are huge. But
Mhm.
I've had a number of people. I did a post saying it feels like that there's too much rhetoric saying you have to train this way or you're not doing it right. And I got the biggest response I think I've ever had on a post, with people going, thank you for saying that, because I feel so much pressure to strength train and I don't like it, and I'm really struggling to do it, and I do, and it's, I think, so what I was thinking, it felt like it was getting a bit diet culture, some of the rhetoric out there. It's like, unless you're doing this, nothing you're doing is worthwhile. And I think for some people, first of all, they don't realize how they could access strength training, because I think there's a way in for everybody. But also, if you are moving and in a sustainable way, there's also huge benefits to that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Capitalism sucks.
Yeah.
So, capitalism sucks.
Yeah.
I believe that what we end up seeing, it's, as you said, diet culture is one system of oppression. And so we start to see the pattern of those systems
Exactly.
manifesting themselves in other systems and other areas, as well as oftentimes even the language of liberation gets co-opted in
Precisely.
different
Yeah.
cases. So we're like confused. Like now we're getting like this kind of punishing message about what's supposed to be liberation for our bodies in terms of strength training. Like if you don't do it, like now we're adding in the fear and fear mongering, and now we're adding in. So this is where I would really say like people need to look at what's the book? The origins of caste. So you want to look at how we create hierarchies. We want to notice and dismantle these hierarchies in health, in wellness, in fitness that are being created. As I said about kettlebells, the same reason why I'm not going to stand at the top and be like, kettlebells are the best. If you don't kettlebells, you are not anything. Like not it. It is like, I want to make kettlebells more accessible to more people. I also understand that kettlebells might not fit for the person. I want you to have the knowledge and education, you know, get your protein, like, you know, have the knowledge and education of what's going to benefit you, and realize that not everything is going to work for everybody. When it comes to strength training, absolutely. Bones need a mechanical load. So we want to talk about the bones, and there's a lot of hormonal response when it comes to strength training that benefits us to build growth hormone, to get that growth hormone so that you can build the bones you want, so you can build the more muscle that you want. And that is done under load. How you load is, it could be anything that's heavy, anything. So if you're not enjoying one thing, you want to try something else. Now, movement is the destination. I think that's where we started at the beginning. That's where I'm going to go back to. So I believe that kettlebells are for everybody, but movement is the destination. So if it's a choice or on a slope when somebody's just beginning or beginning again, and they say, you know what, I really like hiking. That's something that brings me joy. I'm not going to say, well, you should be doing the kettlebell. Like, go and do that. Go and do that. And as get more freedom in their body, I will still ask that you try to explore different types of movement and how you can get more load as you age. But if you feel like the strict version or the type of thing that's being called strength training is not for you, then it's probably not for you. You are the expert of your body.
There's also probably quite a lot of misconception as to what strength training involves. You know, you just have that sort of stereotypical barbell kind of image in your mind. But when you just said, oh, if you enjoy hiking, I mean, there's things that even whatever we enjoy, we can adapt that and add a bit of load to it. You know, you just have a heavier rucksack, or you just add some ankle weights when you're going on your walk, or, you know, there's stuff that we can do to modify, I suppose, to get the strength training into the exercises and the movement that we actually do enjoy, right?
Yep, the spectrum of humans, that means the spectrum of movement options there are and variations that there are available. What I would say is, you know, as much as I love a good barbell workout, you can't put a barbell in your backpack. You can't put a kettlebell in your backpack though. So, you know, that's an option. Carry the weight on your back. If it swings or not for you, you're gonna go ruck. You can bring a kettlebell out with you as well. You want to get some overhead movement. Again, we're getting to like areas where coaching will help you out so that you understand that you are getting access to like all functional movements, and you're staying strong in all those areas: stability, your agility, your core stability. So there's a lot of different ways that we can move. I think the more variation that you have in your life, the better. That goes for food, that goes for movement.
Do you know, Ella, I had this really funny thing where the postman delivered my new kettlebell. Have I told you that story? And and he arrived at the door with this kettlebell, and he's like, "Oh, sweetheart, it's really heavy, so be careful. It's really..." And I just like took it off and went, "Thanks, yeah, thanks. I'll be all right." But she,
Amazing.
you know, the idea that, oh, there's no way I'd be able to lift that. Oh,
Yes.
and it's anyway. That aside, Damali, I have had the best conversation with you. I'm so glad we recorded what you said, because there were so many beautiful ways you spoke about the inclusivity element, but also the why you like kettlebells, and the destination of movement will sit with me. That was amazing. But
I
I'd
love
love to ask, what is coming up for you? What have you got coming up in the next few months? What are you working on at the minute, and how can we work with you?
Well, as I said, like I started off in my journey with, everyday athletes and martial artists. And now my goal is really to broaden the scope so that our coaching practice includes kettlebells, so that at your local big box gym, those kettlebells are not just sitting in the corner collecting dust.
Yeah.
You know how to use them to do more, but also to do it safely and in an empowering way. So Coach's Corner is where I have my Inclusive Kettlebell Coach certification. So if you want to become an Inclusive Kettlebell Coach and get certified, June is when I'll be opening up the next cohort for that program. It is a 6-month program. So in that case, we are doing use cases together, or practicing together over time. We're exploring trauma-informed weightlifting and what trauma is, and we're really looking a little bit more deeply beyond just the exercises to how we cue, to how we navigate the coaching world, including our marketing, and how we can make sure that it is as inclusive as possible. But that's really my journey, is to broaden the community of coaches who have an inclusive approach to kettlebell teaching.
That sounds amazing. We'll link to that in the show notes. So if anyone's interested in joining that, they can get in touch with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Damali. We've run over only by like 10 or more minutes. So sorry, but it was always going to happen. Let's just say.
We're the queen of tangents.
Yeah, queen of tangents. Yeah, but thank you, Damali, and we might do a part 3 in the near future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.